Hey, how's it going, everybody? Welcome back to our Recreation Homestead. My name is Jason. We're obviously in the kitchen, and Angela Kay has got a nice aromatic. It's starting to smell a nice dinner for us here, nice supper here for us here. It's a creamy chicken, potato, chowder. Did I say it right this time?
Yes.
Yeah, third time's the charm. But you know, so I don't know what she's doing. She knows what she's doing. So I'm gonna take you over here. Or hey, bro, do you call it soup or chowder? This is a chowder, okay? But anyway, so we'll call it a chowder. You can call it a soup if you want to, but she's gonna take care of it, show you what to do, okay?
So in this pot, I've got some veggies sauteing. What we have in this pot, we have 5 tablespoons of salted butter. And you wanna let that melt, and then you wanna add in the veggies. And that's 1 medium onion. I'm using a red onion because that's what we grew. And it's about 2 cups of diced carrots and 2 cups of chopped celery. And you just want to saute this until your carrots and celery are about half done and your onions are fully done, which will take about roughly 5 minutes. You want to do this on about medium-high heat, and it'll roughly take about 5 to 7 minutes for the onions to get done. And then I'll show you what we do next. So our onions are translucent now, and our celery and carrots are about half done. They're starting to get tender. So now you want to turn your heat down to medium, and you want to add 1/3 of a cup of all-purpose flour. This will help it get nice and thick, which is part of what makes it a chowder. So you want to stir that in because you are making a roux. This is kind of like if potato soup and chicken soup got married and had a baby. This will be the baby. Which, I don't see anything wrong with that. Now, we're going to add a little bit more salt and pepper because, like I've told you before, you want to season as you go. That way, you have a nicely seasoned soup at the end. Now you want to let this cook just for about a minute so that you get that raw flour taste out of there. Because you don't want that raw flour taste in there. Now to this, we are going to add 4 cups of chicken stock. I'm going to add about a cup of it and stir it in because you don't want your flour, you don't want your roux to clump. So you want to start out with about a cup of your liquid, and see, it gets nice and thick quickly. So now you want to add more. I'm going to add about 2 cups from there. And you want to stir that in. This is just so you don't get lumps from your roux, because nothing would ruin it like having big lumps of flour in your chowder. So you want to pour it in slowly. Now see, it all melted in really nicely. So now you can go ahead and add the rest. Now you want to bring this up to a boil. And then I'll show you what we do next. Okay, now our soup is at a bubble. So now we're going to add some more seasoning. And the next step. So the seasonings we are adding is about a teaspoon of granulated garlic. You guys know I don't measure much. So I measure with the heart. So that's roughly 1 teaspoon. And we are going to add roughly 1 teaspoon of dried thyme. If you have never had thyme with chicken, it is amazing. It's always a good time. Love a good corny joke, even though there's no corn in this. Now, you want to stir in your seasonings. And you want to stir in a little bit more salt, a little bit more pepper, because the next step is going to take up some of that. So you want to do a couple more pinches of salt, a little bit more pepper. Now we're at a good boil. So now we are going to add the next step. And this may sound a little crazy, but it works. We are going to add 3 boneless, skinless chicken breasts. Yes, I'm adding them in whole. Because when they are cooked, we will take them out and chop them up. And they're just gonna add more flavor to the soup this way. And gonna save you time because you're not gonna have to stand here and chop up raw chicken. So it's just gonna save you a lot of time. So now you wanna keep your heat down between medium and medium low. I'm gonna turn mine on about a 3, which is about medium low. You wanna put a lid on this and let it cook until the chicken is done, which will take about 25 to 30 minutes. We'll be back and I'll show you what it looks like and what we do next when the chicken is done. Now it's been 30 minutes. We'll see what we got. At 30 minutes, your chicken breasts are nice and done now. Now we're gonna remove them to a plate and set them aside to cool a little bit while we finish the rest of the soup. Because they need to cool a little bit because we need to chop them up. So now, to the rest of the soup, we're gonna give it a good stir. And now we're gonna add our next component, which is our potatoes. Because you can't have chicken and potato chowder without potatoes. And here we have about 5 to 6 medium to small peeled and diced potatoes. These are just russets. You can honestly use whatever you have, but these are russets. If you use Yukon Gold or red potatoes or something like that, you may not have to peel them, but if you use russets, you really should peel them. Now you want to stir that in really good. And of course, as I've told you, season as you go. So we're going to add just a couple of pinches of salt. And a little bit of fresh cracked black pepper. Now we're going to stir this in and bring this back up to a bubble. And once it's back up at a bubble, then you want to put the lid back on it and let it cook until your potatoes are tender, which will take about 15 to 20 minutes. It's been about 20 minutes and I've tested our potatoes and they're nice and done now. And during that 20 minutes, my chicken cooled off and I cut it into bite-sized pieces, about like that. You can also shred it if you want it shredded, but I prefer it cubed. You want to add in all your chicken. At this point, you want to add in about a cup of frozen peas. If you don't like peas, you can leave them out, but...
Could you add like corn or green beans or anything, or what would you want?
Yeah, you probably could.
Okay.
You could probably add almost any veggie that you would want.
Yeah.
It probably wouldn't really matter. You could probably add just about any veggie.
Chowders and soups are always good, and stews are always a good way to add veggies and stuff.
Yes.
Right.
Now, to make it nice and creamy, we're going to add 1 cup of heavy cream. And that's going to make it nice and creamy for us. Now you want to stir all that in, and you can see how nice and thick and chunky it is. That's what makes it a chowder instead of just a soup, is because it's nice and thick and chunky. And now you want to taste it for seasoning, because when you add that heavy cream, it's going to take a lot of your seasoning down. So you want to taste it at this point for seasoning. But you also want to turn off your heat, because you do not want to overdo it with heat once you add heavy cream.
Why is that?
Because it will curdle.
Okay, don't want to curdle the cream.
Don't curdle the cream.
Okay. Look at this beautiful, beautiful bowl of soup here. A few crackers. I'm gonna eat more crackers than that with this, but that's just for picture's sake. Make it look pretty. I'm gonna take this bite, okay? All right, the camera's down here at Angela's level because it's on a tripod, so I'm having to hunker down. But yeah, she's raising it up on me. Right here, look at that. Beautiful. Oh, it's dripping. Got my hand there. Mmm. Oh, good flavor. Mmm. Absolutely. Wonderful. Wonderful. Goodbye chicken. Great flavor in that broth and cream mixture. Great, great chowder. That's a delicious chowder that is good for a good cold winter night, and which we haven't had too many of those lately, thank goodness. But it's good in the wintertime, good in the fall. It's just a delicious, warm, comforting meal. So thank you guys so much for watching. We do appreciate it. My name is Jason. That's Angela Kay. This is our Recreation Homestead. We love y'all. God bless you and goodbye.